Okay, welcome back. Today we have Christine Walker from
Avail.
From Avail. All right.
All right. Well, hello guys. Thanks for having me here again. This is my 5th time at ETHDenver giving presentations. I'm Christine Perry with Avail, and really excited to talk to you about a workshop about how to build a music sequencer and connect it to Avail. So let's get started. The agenda is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to do a nice overview of Avail, talk to you about Nexus, Avail DA, Turbo DA like clients, and then we'll be coding a bit of the music sequencer. I'll just walk you through the code. It's only 20 minutes, so we can't actually spin up a roll-up and deploy it or things like that. But if you're interested, I'm happy to talk to you about how to do the full journey after the talk. If you scan this QR code, it will actually let you play the music sequencer from your app, which is connected to Avail DA. And so what's really cool about that is that all of you in the crowd will be able to play along as we're coding this. All right, so if you scan the QR code, this is what it looks like. You first have to put in your name and select a color, and it's really cute. But I'm obfuscating a lot of the blockchain tech because the user experience right now is not that great within Web3. And so one of the ways that I find to make it more user-friendly is to not have the person have to worry about downloading a wallet for something like a music sequencer. And so instead, all of the wallet functionality is hidden behind the scenes. Okay, so to give you a bit of overview about Avail DA, if you know about Avail, you probably know of us as being a data availability layer. But what's really interesting is we actually do a few more things. Now, I'm not going to talk about Fusion right now, but I am going to talk about Nexus. And Avail DA is mostly for rollups. So it's mostly infrastructure for rollups to be able to submit their data transactions to Avail DA and automatically generate proofs. What Avail Nexus does is it's providing an ecosystem for app developers to also come into the Avail ecosystem and deploy their applications. Think of it like microservices. So we're kind of building a really cool tool set for not just the rollups or to work with infrastructure, but also app developers to develop within Avail as well. Now, to dive a little bit deeper on what that means, Avail Nexus, what it does is it generates proofs across multiple rollups. And so if you've ever dealt with bridges, you've probably dealt with the UX problems that comes from having all these bridges that are deployed all over the place. You put it on the user to have to determine whether or not this bridge is safe. They have to figure out getting that native gas for that specific rollup instead of just using your app, because you deployed your app on one chain, but you might have assets other places. We're dealing with fragmentation, and so the Nexus product is meant to solve for that. And so any rollup that is part of Nexus, what you're able to do is pretty much deploy once, but through the proof aggregation that happens on Nexus, you're able to receive proofs from other chains, so you can send assets from other chains to your user within your app. And so it kind of feels more like a Web2 ecosystem instead of a Web3, because users aren't jumping back and forth between so many different wallets and bridges and so forth. Now, Avail DA, again, this is what we launched with, and what it does is it provides the base layer for sequencing, and it allows you to make sure that all of your proofs are going to be validated within the Avail ecosystem through Avail-like validators. So you can kind of consider this like a layer 1 like ecosystem there with Nexus on top to provide a nice toolkit for developers to build on top of. Okay, now there are a couple extra features that I think are really cool. And if you scan the QR code and you played with the app, what it's using is it's using Avail Turbo DA to send transactions to Avail. Now, in practice, you really wouldn't do this. You would want to deploy a ZK Sync chain. Let's use that as an example. It would automatically have Avail Turbo DA integrated, and it would send the transactions to Avail on your behalf. For the purpose of this workshop, so that way you can understand how Avail works under the hood, I integrate it directly with Avail Turbo DA within the application. There's another product that's pretty cool, and it also allows you to post transactions directly to Avail. But what it does beyond that, I think, is even cooler, where, like clients, it does data sampling. And what that means is that you're able to prove the security of Avail, but let's say that you just want to receive only the transactions for your application, you can do that. Because within Avail, we provided a way to be able to allow you to do roll-up segmentation. And so what that means is is that you can decide that I just want transactions from this rollup or rollup A, B, but not C or D, and it helps you make sure that you're not weeding through the masses of data that's already posted to Avail or any other blockchain. All right, so that's the quick overview. And so if you're interested in seeing the music sequencer code, you can scan this QR code, and what it will do is it'll take you to the code repo so you can see how things are integrated. If you're here building at the ETHDenver event, you might be able to use some of this code within your applications. So let's go ahead and go over to the code repo. So if you missed the first QR code or you're just coming in, you can simply just go to this URL here and it'll land you onto that same app. It's mobile enabled, so you're able to play a music sequence and save it to the blockchain. If you need some test ETH because you're deploying it on your own, I provided a way for you to do that, and also a nice explanation of Turbo DA and setup instructions. So pretty simple for going through that. Now, I'm going to refresh the screen, because as I mentioned, we're not having you download a wallet. We're simply having you create just a simple way to log in. And what this does is it's harmonizing. So if you've ever been to a sound bath or you've been to Burning Man, then this is sort of like a few notes that all play in really good harmony together. And what you're able to do is play a sequence and save it to Avail, which sends through Turbo DA. Once that's saved, you'll see your transaction appear here, which means that you can replay any melodies that you created in the past or you are going to create in the future, and that is the application. So to show you what's under the hood as far as like how this is built out, let's go into the code a little bit. Now, I love Cursor. It's great. AI, yes? Oh, you're not seeing it. All right, what about now? Thanks, guys. Okay, so let's back it up, because apparently it wasn't showing on the screen. So I'm going to refresh again. Again, just go through the code repo. If you missed it, you're able to get to the URL here. You're able to understand how to deploy it. And of course, any code that's within here, feel free to use it within your applications while you're here at ETHDenver. I don't mind. But the music sequencer, again, we're not creating a wallet. We're simply signing up. So I built this for my daughter, and it's an easy way for her to simply just use an application. But if you want to create a music sequence, you simply select a few notes here, and then you're able to save it directly to Avail DA. And it goes through Turbo DA in order to save it to the blockchain as proof. So think of it as proof of music. What happens next is that you are able to play any music sequences that you created in the past. So it'll replay that music sequence for you. This is all saved on the blockchain. For this one, I am using zk-sync era for this. And if you want to understand how to set that up, we have really great documentation on that for spinning up your rollup and connecting it to Avail DA. And if you want to learn more about Turbo DA and how that works, this is what the dashboard looks like. It's really simple. You simply sign up, you get an API key, and you're able to simply post to Avail directly within your rollup or application. All right. So to back it up, what I was going to do next is kind of go through the code and show you what's going on here under the hood. I love Cursor. It's great. It has amazing AI tools to help me build out faster. But I think what's really cool here is just the simplicity of simply connecting Avail via Turbo DA. And so what this does is it allows you to submit transactions via the Turbo DA URL, provide the data, and all you have to do is provide the API key. So as you can imagine, if you are a roll-up and building infrastructure, the setup for integrating with Avail DA is as simple as this. If you are a dApp developer relying on it, the setup is also simple as integrating with this. And that's pretty much it. So there's not a lot that goes into having to figure out how to integrate Turbo DA. Having to figure out how to integrate Nexus, we provide a lot of great SDKs to make that simple for you to be able to onboard and use the Nexus ecosystem if you're deploying an application. And so within the Avail ecosystem, we're trying to make it as simple as possible to build out the toolkits for you guys. All right. Now, I did want to spend a little bit more time on Turbo DA since I do have more time and talk to you more about like what it offers. Because if you are a roll-up or a developer, what's great is that you're usually constrained by having to deal with sequential posting. And that creates bottlenecks. But what if you were able to send all of your transactions to Turbo DA at the same time? If you're not DeFi, a lot of times you don't need sequential like posting, but you do need them to appear in the same order. And it still respects order, but what it allows you to do is send multiple transactions through Turbo DA within a 60-second window, and it'll provide to you an instant confirmation of proof that it will be posted. What happens after that is that once you get that submission ID back, you'll be able to visit the Avail Avail Blockchain Explorer to see all of your data that's been posted there. You're also able to use Turbo DA and the Light clients to receive or view any of the data that you've posted. And that's what I was talking about with Light clients. It allows you to just hone in on just your application data. You don't have to weed through the masses of all the other data that appears there. All right. So based off of the space, I usually allow for questions, but it might be hard to hear you guys. So I'm happy to talk to you after the talk. And thank you for attending.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.